This is Chris Kelly with your Peak Fitness Single Leg Stance Assessment. My lovely subject Andrew has joined me to help to demonstrate our test. So far, he has aced our movement screen as we're filming these videos, so we're going to see how he shakes out in single leg stance, all right? I'm always going to demonstrate the exercise first for the client, and with single leg stance, it's important that we're able to see the client's knees, all right? I'm going to ask Andrew to stand on one leg for a period of 20 seconds, all right? What I'm looking for here is whether or not, one, he's able to maintain balance, and then two, if we see any deviations of kind of his pelvis. So, he's going to bring his knee to his chest, and if he starts to side bend or lean back and is extremely noticeable, or the kneecap is internally rotating or way far out to the side, then I'm going to note that as well. What we also want to view is the position of the foot. All right, if the person pronates or there's an issue with the foot or ankle, you're going to see the foot collapsing or doing something that it shouldn't. The foot should look nice and lined up. There should be a nice arch there, and we want to make sure that they maintain that throughout this single leg stance. All right, so we're going to test Andrew from side to side, and we're just going to see how that shakes out. All right, so let's get you into single leg stance here. Let's face the camera. All right, we'll just hold for about 10 seconds in this position because we want to view him from the front. Okay.
I'll be back in about 10 minutes or so.
Let's get you to turn around here, Andrew. No, face this direction, face the wall. Okay, we also want to view him from the back, okay, whether his pelvis is symmetrical, and it looks pretty good, or if he's kind of side bending to one side like that, okay, that's a major compensation. All right, and that just tells us that we have muscles that are maybe pulling him out of place. And we also want to view him from the side. Okay, let's turn to the side to show the crowd here. All right, again, if something were awry here, what would happen is Andrew would be leaning back excessively, or he would be leaning forward excessively. You also want to make sure that the knee is right at 90 degrees. All right, so we're going to look at standing on each side once again for 20 seconds. So let's switch hips. I'm just going to look at both sides. Once again, I'm looking at the position of the foot, the position of the knee, as well as the hips and shoulders to make sure everything is nice and symmetrical. Everything should be nice and lined up. All right, come down. All right, so we had our single leg stance test. We're also going to look at this dynamically. So what I would ask you to do next is to stand on one leg and simply squat up and down 3 times. What I'm looking for here is, once again, fairly good symmetry between the hips and the shoulders, as well as the position of the foot and knee. All right. Oftentimes, what you'll see is a collapsing into the knee and a pronation of the foot. All right. And when you see that, that would be considered a compensation. All right. So let's go ahead and look at Andrew from the front here. Why don't you stand on one leg there, and again, just hands on your hips, and just squat down as far as you can comfortably 3 times. Okay, and he looks pretty good. Okay, we see that the kneecap, keep going, is centered over the foot. All right, we don't see much internal rotation. Okay, let's hit the other side real quick here. Go ahead. Okay, the foot maintains a nice arch there. Can't really see it through the sock on the other side, but he's doing. We see that he's maintaining kind of integrity of the pelvis, and that's a good thing. Good, give it a rest. So the way we score this one is, if the person could do everything perfectly, they're going to get a 3. But if we see some sort of compensation where the knee collapses in, the hip is jacked up to the side, whatever it may be, you might not necessarily know what it is, they get a 2. Okay, if they simply cannot maintain balance at all, or they can't do the single leg squat without losing balance, then the person gets a 1. All right, so compare side to side, and we're going to move on to the next test.